peace to the gods. In this video, we will be expanding on a reminder of the mind, a dialogue of why you are here, to be grateful and thankful. Enjoy the conversation.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Diving into your material for this deep dive has been, it's been really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you've given us this really fascinating mix, right? Like there's personal reflection, which is always great to see, but then you've woven in these ancient scriptures and even a little mystery.
A touch of the unknown.
Exactly. And it all seems to be circling these big ideas, gratitude and contentment, and then resilience. And you know what? I think we can all use a little more of that in our lives, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And what's amazing is how these themes, gratitude, contentment, resilience, they're often seen as, just these nice ideas.
Right, just positive vibes.
Exactly. But when we really get into it, there's so much more than that. They're like practical tools.
Yeah.
Tools we can use to deal with everything life throws at us.
Totally. And the thing is, it's like these ideas, you're kind of already inside us, like they're hardwired somehow.
In a way, yeah.
Take the Psalms, for example. Way back when they were already telling people, like, enter with thanksgiving and praise. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. And it's incredible how that message, it's timeless, right? It still resonates with us today.
100%.
And what's fascinating to me is how this idea of gratitude, it's not confined to one time or place. Think about Lao Tzu, right?
Yeah.
Centuries after those songs. And he's talking about gratitude being like the foundation of a good life.
Right. It's like a universal value.
Exactly. Like a golden thread connecting us all.
Okay, and speaking of universal truths and connections, there's that story in The Alchemist that really stuck with me.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The traveler, right, he finds all this joy and gratitude for, like, the simplest things. His jacket, his book, even just having his sheep with him. It's such a simple story.
It is, but it makes you think, doesn't it?
Totally, it makes you think.
Because it highlights something really important about gratitude. It's not about having, like, a ton of fancy things. It's more about changing how we look at things. When we focus on what we're grateful for, even the little things, it shifts our whole perspective.
It's like choosing to see the good instead of dwelling on the negative.
Exactly. And that shift, that's where real contentment comes from, no matter what's going on around us.
That's so powerful. It makes you think about how often we're looking for external validation, right? Like we need something outside of ourselves to feel content.
Right.
Instead of finding that contentment from within, like the traveler in the story.
It's a journey we all go through. But it reminds me of something else you mentioned in your notes, the Apostle Paul in Philippians. He talks about learning to be content.
Oh, yes. Yeah. In every situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you have plenty or you're facing hardship, that really resonated with me.
Finding that inner peace, no matter what life throws at you, it's a powerful idea.
And it's something that pops up again and again in different traditions. The Bhagavad Gita, for instance, it stresses this idea of equanimity. Basically, it's about finding a place of mental calmness that isn't thrown off by all the ups and downs of life.
Right. Kind of like riding the waves instead of being tossed around by them.
Yes. And the Tao Te Ching, it talks about adaptability and acceptance as being key to moving through all of life's changes with a sense of grace. It's amazing, really.
It really is. Like all these ancient texts written worlds apart, they all seem to be pointing toward this same truth.
That's it. Cultivating inner peace, inner strength, it's like a universal human pursuit.
I like that. A universal human pursuit. And that actually brings us to that line in your material, the one about the Temple of Solomon seals weakening. It's kind of mysterious, right?
Definitely enigmatic.
But it feels really important. Like it has something to do with resilience, with facing the unknown. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a really interesting observation. And while we don't get a clear-cut answer, right, it does point to a kind of strength, a strength we can access even when things are uncertain.
I like that, a strength even in uncertainty.
It makes me think about where people find their own strength when times get tough. Some people find it in their faith, others in their community, or maybe in their own personal beliefs. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where do you find your strength when you're facing challenges?
That's a great question to consider. And, it brings us right back to these core themes we've been talking about. Gratitude, contentment, resilience. They're all so interconnected, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're not just separate ideas. They work together, almost like threads, to create something stronger, something more resilient.
It's like weaving them together creates a tapestry of a life well lived.
Exactly. And by nurturing gratitude, that's how we open ourselves up to feeling more content.
Yes.
And when we feel content, well, that fuels our resilience. It's
Yeah.
this amazing positive cycle within us.
I love that image, a positive cycle. So as we come to the end of this deep dive, it really makes me want to ask everyone listening, how can you weave these threads, gratitude, contentment, resilience, into your own life? What small changes, even just small shifts in how you look at things, can you make today to tap into that inner strength?
Because even those small changes, they can have a ripple effect.
They really can.